Your Magic the Gathering news report is brought to you in part by the channel MTG Anarchy, where we take a look into the world of Magic the Gathering and throw a little bit of mischief and chaos into the mix. Welcome to your Magic the Gathering news report for Tuesday, April 28th of 2020. My name is Michael, it's great to see you here. Today I had an opportunity to witness the video of the interview between Tolarian Community College's The Professor and Mark Rosewater. And it was based off concerns when it came to the pandemic, what's going on with Magic in general, as well as future products and so on and so forth. And honestly, I will say it was a really good interview in general. I think there were a lot of topics that we as players were worried about and were hit on. So I think if you want to go ahead and check out that interview, I would suggest going to the Tolarian Community College's YouTube channel and checking that interview out. But within the interview, there were things that were said that I myself had concerns on, especially when it comes to product releases, tabletop, as well as other aspects when it comes to playing, as well as getting and receiving Magic the Gathering. So today I want to discuss those concerns and those points that I have when it comes to this interview. Now, just a heads up, I will be using snippets of the video or audio when it comes to the interview. So all video, all audio that pertains to the interview goes to Tolarian Community College. This is something that I'm not going to be copywriting or anything like that. This is something that I personally have concerns and questions on. This is my own opinions when it comes to these sorts of things, and these are things that just stick out. Of course, I would suggest everybody to go ahead and check out the actual video in general, where they go more in depth about what's going on and being discussed. But again, this is something I am going ahead and putting a heads up on. So please keep that in mind. Also, before we start the video, before we actually get into everything, I would appreciate it if you like this type of content and like me giving my opinions on these sorts of things, to go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell notification to keep up to date with any new videos that do come out here on MTG Anarchy. Again, this is an opinionated video when it comes to this, but it is newsworthy. So I wanted to go ahead and discuss this within a news-esque report. But that said, let's jump right into the video. So this first question was a question that the professor went ahead and gave that I actually did want to go ahead and know and get information on. Let's jump to that question.
I'm genuinely afraid we've lost in many ways due to this pandemic, the gathering. People are social distancing and self-quarantined, and this is on a global level. Is Magic going to be okay coming out of this, or is Magic taking a bad hit from this?
To that question, Mark Rosewater gave the following response.
Magic is going to be okay. One of the things to be aware, the pandemic is causing lots of things to happen, and obviously we're adapting to things. We are full steam ahead making Magic. We're trying to understand the effect of the pandemic, and we are trying to help the best we can. We want to make sure that we're still effective behind the scenes, so a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, there's Magic there.
Mark then follows up his response with the following.
What we're doing for the pandemic itself. Number one of our biggest concerns is, as you said, it's called Magic the Gathering. We love all our digital efforts. What we call tabletop, paper Magic, is a really big part of Magic. In fact, it's the largest part of Magic. More people play Magic through physical cards than any other way to play. That's important to us. It's one of the things that really, in some ways, sets us apart. And we've come to realize that's a big part of our identity. We want you to go and play in person with people. The things that makes Magic Magic is the commodity, the community, the sharing with one another, and that face-to-face sort of thing is really important. And Magic, we always want to embrace that. We understand that right now, face-to-face in a lot of the world is not viable right now. Look, Wizards, the safety of our players is our primary concern. So a lot of what we're doing is making sure that we're taking the steps we need. We're trying to do what all the rest of the world is trying to do, which is keep people safe.
Now, when it's regarded to this specific comments and these specific points, I believe I agree with Mark Rosewater, especially when it comes to tabletop. I honestly agree that tabletop is one of the biggest playing aspects when it comes to Magic the Gathering in general. And I also do agree that when it comes to the safety of players, they want to make sure players are safe. So it is understandable in this sort of context that saying, hey, look, we know we cannot be together at this time, but we do want to go ahead and say and signify that tabletop experience isn't going anywhere. it is very important to our company. So I do agree with that aspect. In response to these responses by Mark Rosewater, the professor then asks the following.
In terms of when the pandemic is thankfully over, that there is going to be a road to recovery, to restoring Magic Fest's local game store, Friday Night Magic, Standard Showdowns, all the wonderful events and in-person gatherings, or is that still something that is unclear and we don't know how we're going to get towards?
Mark then gives the following response to this question.
I mean, we are having conversations about how do we get past the pandemic.
Right.
The thing to stress is we don't know. There's so much we don't know that a lot of what we're doing is making plans upon plans upon plans to try to understand. There's two big important things within this. One is, what do we do right now? How do we keep Magic alive during the pandemic? And what do we do after? How do we get back to where we were before? During the pandemic, there's a couple of things. One is we're leaning more heavily on digital. And right now, we're leaning on digital because digital, I mean, A, it's a fun way to play Magic, and it's currently the safest way to play right now because the face-to-face stuff is hard. The other thing we're trying to do is, for example, we have a lot of stores. The stores matter a great deal to us. And so we're taking a lot of steps to try to help the store. We are giving them for free mystery boosters. We are giving out a whole bunch of mystery boosters that we're just giving it away. We're not charging for it all as a means to help the stores have a way to generate some money. We are trying to help stores run events online. So we are working with stores so that they can run Friday Night Magic in conjunction with stuff like Magic Arena. When the next set, Ikoria, comes out, we're going to let stores sell you the pre-release kits to take home.
Okay.
That is something that we're doing to try to match right now. One of the things we're trying to do is we want to support the structure that is normal Magic, and we want to make sure that the stuff during this pandemic, look, there's lots of stores that are struggling. We understand that. And I mean, we get the economic turmoil of a pandemic is a big deal. And so we're doing what we can to both help the stores get through this and provide them tools that they can connect with their players during it.
So to this specific response, I do want to go ahead and discuss this a little bit in depth and in detail. So with the first part, that first response focusing on digital, it does make a lot of sense, especially because not many people can go ahead and play face-to-face unless it's online, unless it's somewhere where they can actually play. And to me, I think that is understandable, especially with what they're dealing with right now. They want people to still play the game. They still want people to have that access to the game. So it does make sense in this sort of aspect. Now, when it comes to the LGSs, your local game stores, honestly, I am glad that Wizards is allowing these stores to do a lot of these sorts of things, like bringing the pre-release kits home and everything like that. One topic that I did want to hit on, and this is something that I am specifically hitting on, this is the reason of why I wanted to go ahead and make this video, is because of the fact that with the mystery boosters, Mark Rosewater, if you own an LGS, Mark Rosewater stated as a representative from the Wizards company that you will be receiving these for free. You will not be charged for them. From what I've heard from my local game store is that their distributors are trying to charge them for these mystery boosters, which should not be the case, especially if Wizards is giving them to the local game stores for free. So, if you own an LGS, legitimately, if you own a local game store and you're being charged for these mystery boosters when Wizards goes ahead and gives you these mystery boosters, that to me is illegal. That should not happen, and you need to go ahead and report that to Wizards, because honestly, that is shady from that distributor. Honestly, I am within the rights to support my local game store, and honestly, I want people to hear from Wizards themselves that these products should be free. You should be getting these for free. You should not be paying for these items. If you do, report your distributor to Wizards. Let them know what is going on. But that is my opinion when it comes to this. Now, we are actually going to go ahead and stop here at this moment. Honestly, there is a lot more interview that they do hit on when it comes to this whole pandemic, this whole situation. So honestly, to me, I would suggest just going ahead and checking out that podcast in the full entirety, so you know what to expect, what to hear. But honestly, these were some of the points that I actually wanted to hit on when it comes to this interview, because these were opinions that I had when it came to the interview. So again, go ahead, check out Tolarian Community College, check out that interview, the full interview, because honestly, I don't do it enough justice. That was an amazing video. That was an amazing interview. So please go ahead and check that one out. But with all that said and done out of the way, this was your Magic the Gathering news report here on MTG Anarchy. Now, before you go, I would actually appreciate it if you could go ahead and like and share this video so more people could go ahead and see this type of video. It gets out into the algorithm, and honestly, I want more people to see my opinions when it comes to things like this, when it comes to the Magic the Gathering community. Also, like I said earlier, I would appreciate it if you could subscribe and hit the bell notification to keep up to date with any new videos that do come out here on MTG Anarchy. And finally, I would actually appreciate it if you could go, if you're financially stable at least, to support your local game stores. Because we are one community. Honestly, we should all support one another in these times that we're facing currently. And honestly, I think it would be best if you do and are financially stable to support your local game stores. But with all that out of the way, this is Michael from MTG Anarchy here with your Magic the Gathering news report. I appreciate your time. Thank you for watching the video, and I will see you all tomorrow.